Welcome to Cognition and Perception. My name is Rick or Ricky. I am less into formalities in general, but Professor Max, Doctor, you can call me however you feel like. So in this video, I want to tell you a little bit about the course. We'll go through the syllabus. Then the TAs will present themselves. I'll present myself. And in the end, I will tell you a little bit about the general overview of the content that we'll go through. So this semester I'm teaching both cognition and perception, which are strongly interconnected courses. They derive from the same big questions and they endure the same kind of challenges. We'll talk a lot about it. So in the beginning, both courses will go more or less together, and after the first weeks they'll start to diverge into different topics. But and sometimes I'll talk about cognition in perception and the opposite, and maybe we'll invite you to watch interesting things from the other course. But whenever I say this course, I refer to your course, to whichever course you are enrolled in. Now, this course is perhaps one of the most important undergraduate courses in psychology. And that's because, first of all, most of you, this will be your first encounter with the big tools, the main tools of science making, which is critical thinking and communication, be that reading, writing, and presenting ideas. The second reason is because cognition and perception directly derive from the biggest, the oldest, the most annoying and the most intriguing questions that we humans have been asking since the day that we decided that we don't feel like being monkeys anymore. And since then, we are in the same rabbit hole asking again and again, what is going on? What are we doing here? Who am I? What am I? What am I for? What is the meaning of life? These are all the same questions in different versions. What is reality? What is truth? What is universal truth? How can we know that we really know what we think that we know? We will talk about the connection of mind and body. Since we know ourselves since the age of 3 or something, we have this very strong feeling of what is me and what is not me. We perceive our abstract self as a unitary and coherent thing. My thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my memories, my identity, they are all one. We feel a straight line throughout the years. We will see that that is not so, or we don't have as much control and access to our memories, most of all, even though we feel that we are one thing. At the same time, we also feel that our body is one me. And it's very clear what is not my body. We will ask, how can we address the question of the connection between mind and body? Now, all those questions derive from our never-ending, insatiable need to understand human experience in this world. Why we are so worried about it, I don't know. Looking from outside, we live and die doing exactly the same things like all other monkeys. We eat, sleep, and try to have sex. But it is what it is. We are really bothered by those questions. Now, our experience in this world is a function of our interaction within it. meaning how we collect information and process this information. So roughly speaking, the field of perception deals with the collection of the information with our senses, and cognition with our processing of that information. Obviously, this is a very artificial separation. It's one long process of collecting and processing the information. During our lectures, we will firstly cover the definition of those big questions, mainly from the world of philosophy. And then gradually we'll plunge into the scientific literature and the proposals of how to understand the inner mechanisms of this long process. Now, this course, this semester, will be taught a little bit different than it has been taught in previous semesters, and later you understand exactly how. But one point I want to stress now. As much as you'll be bestowed with hours and hours of me talking about hopefully interesting things, the main value for you will be in the recitations. And that's why we have a especially strong lineup of TAs. Their CVs are very annoying. They are full of magna cum laude, summa cum laude, magna carta, tabula rasa, alpha, beta, gamma, sigma, kappa, all those things. I try to find, hobbies, favorite colors, nothing. All they have is like a beefy section of honors and awards. So those are your TAs. They don't see colors, and in their leisure time they collect awards. Now let me tell you what we would like to offer you in this course, what we hope you will gain from this course. So first of all, obviously, all of you want to finish it with good grades. For some of you it's more important, less important. In my humble opinion, you are already undergrads in psychology at NYU. From now on, whether you have an A+ or a B, it will matter less and less for your future. But that's a personal choice. So grade-wise, to put it bluntly, this is not a difficult course, but it's an intensive one, because the most important thing here will not be the information you will collect during the course, but the process you will go through. I'll explain in a minute. Now, from experience, I know for a fact that all students are genuinely interested and motivated to learn, to, all those cliches, open horizons. The main factors that hamper student engagement are either when the teacher fails to make it interesting and relevant for you, and that's on me. And for that, we will ask for your help. We will ask for feedback all the time. Later I'll talk exactly how. And the second thing is personal reasons. Sometimes it's the wrong timing, a bad semester, have problems at home, you are overloaded. Talk to us. We will try to help you as much as possible. Why did I say that the textbook information is the less important part? Because, first of all, you guys are provenly smart, intelligent, and hardworking. You don't need us to read the book. The book is comprehensive, very well written, and clear. Second of all, as you already know, this information will dissipate with time. After 1 year, all you have are glimpses of some part of or another that for some reason touched you more or less. What will remain are the tools that you learn during the process. Forgive me for the cliche, but it's not about the fishes we caught together, it's about you learning how to fish. So it's a process, which means that it's gradual and it's interactive, and you have to be active in questioning yourself, questioning the way you understand the world, debating yourself, debating us, interacting with us. It's training, like learning an instrument or any sports. Specifically, what we are talking about is critical thinking and communication skills. Now, why scientists, experienced scientists, irrespective of their field of expertise, they are sought after by business consulting firms, think tanks, advisory boards of anything, everything concerning problem solving, decision making, policy making. It's because they are trained into, first of all, dissecting the gist of a problem, which means asking the most critical questions behind what seems to be the problem. They are trained to recognize what are the sine qua non questions, meaning the absolute necessary questions to be asked in order to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. And usually, mostly, or perhaps always, everything we are trying to achieve in life, directly or indirectly, involves affecting other people, convincing other people. Even an artist, by the end of the day, the artist is trying to affect other people, which can only be achieved by convincing them that whatever the artist is doing is relevant. So the first thing about scientists is the ability to recognize the gist of the problem. And the second thing is that scientists are trained into communicating ideas. To summarize it bombastically, we are going to try to understand how humans have been trying to explain how the human mind works, not by accepting or rejecting specific answers, but by focusing on the motivating question behind those answers. And to finish it even more bombastically, our motto will be de omnibus dubitandum est, which means everything must be doubted. And that is the title of a book by Søren Kierkegaard, who was a Danish philosopher from the 19th century. Okay, let's talk about the syllabus. First of all, please read it. It's fantastic reading. So, my lectures will be recorded, not live, and uploaded every week to NYU classes. And I will give you also the entire lecture so you can watch it in one swish. And I will also add the parts of the lectures according to topics. So if you want to go back and watch only a specific topic, you won't have to look for the part inside the 1 hour lecture. I'll also give you a map of what is where, which minute, etc. Now, My lecture hours will serve mostly for office hours, not every week, but everything you will be notified all the time. Whatever changes and whatever we add, and every time there is a new lecture uploaded, you will be notified. So the lecture hours will be mostly office hours, where I'll be open online on Zoom, and you can enter and talk to me about anything. If you agree and the content is relevant for your colleagues, then we can make it open for everybody, or you can talk to me privately about anything. Sometimes we will have reviews during my lecture, live reviews during my lecture hours, and sometimes we'll have maybe guest speakers, or your TAs will present some specific topic or their research, but again, everything will notify you upfront. And everything will be recorded and uploaded, so you can watch whenever you want. Now, the recitations will be conducted live and recorded and uploaded to their respective sections in NYU classes. So NYU classes, each student will have two different sites. One, the main site of the course, where my lectures will be, and the other one only for your recitation section. So the recitations will be uploaded to the respective section NYU classes. For all the asynchronous students far away in unviable time zones, don't worry, we will schedule, we can have office hours by appointment and recitations. You will not be lost. We'll find solutions for everybody, don't worry. As you probably already realized, there will be no exams. And because of obvious reasons, the time zones and all the remote mess, there is no requirement for attendance in anything, either lectures or recitations. Let's talk about COVID. Okay, so first of all, I know you are more than tired to hear about it. And you probably saw me twice a week on the television saying the same thing again and again. But it's important, and I must say it here again. I'll say it shortly. I am sorry. I apologize. I admit I shouldn't have eaten those bats, but I cannot uneat them. We are still learning from semester to semester. We are changing things, and we will maybe have changes in our dynamics during the semester. Now, two things I want to say about it. First of all, I promise that whatever we do, whatever we change, it will be to facilitate students. We will not add stuff. We will not complicate things more than they are already complicated. Second thing, in order to calibrate and accommodate things during the semester, we will need your feedback all the time. And we'll talk about it. How? Now, one thing that I like about COVID, let me rephrase it. One silver lining about remote teaching, fully remote teaching, is that I will always be able to add stuff. We will be in touch. If there are things that are not clear, you want to hear more about it, I can always add more oceans of wisdom of video to NYU classes. The second thing is that I can always tell myself that my jokes are working. Now, everything I'm telling you will be repeated again and again, and will be explained and re-explained in the recitations, and you can ask us anytime, anything. All right, let's talk about grading. So your grading will be mainly two kind of assignments, the Gaddafi assignments and the EDM assignments, and the weekly feedbacks and the initial survey. But the weekly feedbacks and the initial surveys, they are not assignments. They are it's 1 minute too. It's nothing. So the Gaddafi assignments is like this. Every week you will be given, beginning from the second week, you'll be given a paper to read, and on which you apply the Gaddafi method. I'll explain in a minute. And during the recitations every week, your TA will go through that paper and that Gaddafi. You will be required to submit 7 Gaddafi assignments to be graded. You can submit every week, but you will choose which 7 you want them to be graded. You choose when you submit. And you also be able to submit 2 additional Gaddafi assignments, optional, and then you have 9 from which you drop the 2 lowest scores. All right, grades. The Gaddafi assignment is a very simple method that will help you to find the most important message in a written material in general, in a specifically here in a scientific paper. Now, it will be explained and re-explained. We will upload a 20 minutes video by Caroline explaining the Gaddafi method, and we also have a well-written paper by Pascal in the course's resources, and also a small one. So don't worry, it's very simple and it's very useful most of all. The EDM assignment is like this. Beginning from the 4th week, you will be divided in groups in your recitation, and for those asynchronous, you will be divided into groups in your time zone. And if you are the only one we'll find solutions for everyone, don't worry. But you will be divided into groups. You work together with your group until the end of the semester, and during which you will propose a small experimental project. You think about the main theoretical question, and then you learn how to translate it into operational variables, and you choose the method, and then we will not run the experiment, but the TA will help you to imagine the hypothetical results, and then you will describe the conclusions from your study. So half of this project, you write it, you'll submit it by the end of the semester with your group, though you will be graded individually. The TA will explain exactly how during the first the first recitations. And the second part, you will present your project, your EDM project. Present by video. Your TA will divide your project according to parts, and will choose who will present what. Again, everything will be thoroughly explained. Then we have the weekly feedbacks. Let me explain the weekly feedbacks. So every week we'll ask you, you'll be asked to, we have 14 weeks, we'll ask you to submit 10 submissions, each one point, it's a requirement, and then you also be able to submit 2 additional for extra points, half a point each. So it's a simple questionnaire about what are your impressions from the content of the course? What is really interesting? What would you like to hear more? What is not clear? What you don't like? This kind of stuff. It's really simple and it's really short, but we need this feedback from you. It's not to force you to watch the lectures. We are not here to educate you. This is for us to understand if the way we are teaching is working. And then we have the initial survey, which is a simple questionnaire that you will fill during the first 3 weeks of the semester. A word about the research participation program, the SONA program. So all over the world, for decades, a huge chunk of research in psychology relies on undergrad students as participants, as subjects. Now, you guys are highly motivated and you have prime quality brain, and especially in cognition and perception, the homogeneity of the participants is an advantage rather than a concern. Now, for you, it's a great opportunity to experience firsthand how a real experiment runs. And you understand the vibes and the kind of tasks that upon which all the research is based. Now, the department at NYU requires cognition students to participate in 2 hours in the semester. It's explained in the syllabus and in the, I'll say in a word, the PDF. Perception students are not required, but we highly recommend to participate for the reasons I just explained. So we will give an extra 1% point to the final grade for perception students that participate in 1 hour and for cognition students that participate in an additional hour and a third hour beyond the 2 required hours. Now, 4 points I want to say about this. Most tasks are not demanding, they are not difficult, and they usually last less than 1 hour. Secondly, they are completely anonymous by law. Third, there is no deceit or there are no tricks, also by law. And fourth, after you finish the task, you are entitled to hear about the research, about the experiment and the research in general. So depends who will run the experiment. It may be a research assistant or a master's or a PhD student. Ask them, and if it interests you, you can ask for the main researcher behind the experiment, be that a postdoc, a PhD student, a master student, or a PI, most of the time they will be more than glad to explain to you if you're interested. So do it. You will find all the details about this program and how to engage in it inside our NYU classes main site. Inside resources, there is a PDF called Advanced Psych Student Guide, revised 1720. Go for it. I apologize for repeating myself again and again, but we do need and want your feedback all the time. So beyond the weekly feedback submission that we will require you to submit, we are offering, more than offering, we want you to use our anonymous feedback platform, because the weekly submission is nominal. And obviously, there will be things that you will feel uncomfortable to tell us with your name under it. It makes sense. So please use it. We want to hear, and use it indiscriminately. Say everything in your heart. It's good for you, it's good for us, and it's anonymous. Okay, so by now I hope it's already clear that we want to be in touch and be accessible as much as possible. Now, you can talk to any one of us in any way, anytime, about anything. But to make things more efficient and faster, we would like to ask you to address specific people according to the content of your question. So everything about grading, attendance, and technical stuff, talk to your TA. Everything regarding the Gaddafi assignments, talk to Michelle. Everything about the EDM assignments, turn to Suki. And stuff regarding the content, please send in the same email both to me and to your TA. Now, we do have all in all almost 300 students this semester, which means that as much as we want to answer everything as fast as possible, it may get complicated sometimes. Please don't hesitate for a moment to insist and remind us. You're helping us. It's we that apologize for missing something or not answering timely. That's it. So now we would like to present ourselves. By the way, I made a not surely funny joke about your TAs collecting awards in their leisure time. They do have the awards, but that's not the story. And you meet them now, and you know them personally. I don't have to explain it. So.
Hi everyone, my name is Sukhjeet. I also go by Sukhi. I'm going to be teaching for perception this semester. My pronouns are she, hers, and my name is pronounced Sukhi. A little bit about me. I grew up in northern India. I moved there when I was 6. I did most of my schooling there, and I moved back to the States about 6 years ago for college. I did my undergrad at Hofstra University. I majored in psychology and neuroscience. I'm currently doing my master's in psychology at NYU. In my free time, I like to watch movies, Netflix. I doodle sometimes, and I also tried baking this quarantine. So that's one of my neuro interests. I am currently working in Lazar Lab here at NYU Langone, run by Mariana Lazar. We look at white matter changes in psychosis spectrum disorders. Particularly, my research focuses on the relationship between white matter changes and spatial working memory performance in schizophrenia and schizoaffective patients. During my undergrad, I had a chance to work in some neuroscience and psychology labs. as well as peer tutor for sensation and perception. I also TA'd for perception here at NYU last year. So perception is one of the subjects that I really, really have a keen interest in. And I really hope to share that with you guys and hopefully learn something from you guys as well. So I'm super excited for this semester. So excited to meet you. See you guys soon.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Bandel. You pronounce my name Michelle. I don't know how else you can pronounce it, so just call me anything except for Michael. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I will be the TA for Perception Section 4, which meets Tuesdays at 3:30, and Section 5, which meets Thursdays at 4:55. A little bit about myself. I was born in Miami, Florida. I moved to Venezuela when I was 4 months old. Then I moved back to Miami when I was 12. As you can tell, I'm a huge family person, but obviously the favorite member of my family is my dog. I went to NYU for undergrad. I majored in psychology on the pre-health track, and I minored in chemistry and child and adolescent mental health studies. While in undergrad, I was the co-founder of Delta Epsilon Mu, which is a co-ed pre-health fraternity at NYU, and I was also a research assistant at an NYU Langone lab. We studied pancreatic cancer. I graduated in May 2020, so I was a COVID-19 or quarantine grad. I graduated at home, and I began a master's program at NYU School of Global Public Health. So I'm currently a master's student in public health in the social and behavioral sciences department, and I am hoping to go to med school in the near future. So if you have any questions about undergrad experience at NYU, psychology, perception, of course, research at NYU Langone, or anything of the sort, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email address is at the bottom, and I am looking forward to a great semester. The professor is awesome, and the TAs are also awesome, so be excited.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline and I'm the head TA for both the cognition and perception courses this semester. I use she, her pronouns, and you can pronounce my name like Caroline. Just to give you guys a little bit of background about me and my interests, as you can see here, I'm a huge animal person. I have this lovely little cat. Her name is Kiro, and she is 26 pounds of just straight rescue love. I also have 2 horses, and I have this cute little bunny rabbit named Cookie. I'm also very, very into music and the arts. During the pandemic, I actually taught myself how to play ukulele, so I guess now I can tangentially call myself a musician. When we're not in quarantine and not in lockdown, I also really love traveling, and a lot of the times you can find me in Berlin, Germany. And to tell you guys a little bit about my research and my research interests, so I'm in the Carrasco lab here at NYU, which is run by Marisa Carrasco, but I've also been fortunate enough to work in a variety of other labs here as an undergraduate. I worked in Pascal Wallach's Fox lab and a couple of the other social and social neuroscience labs here on campus. So if you have questions about getting involved in research as an undergrad, I'm more than happy to chat with you about that. Currently, my research deals with visual attention and perception and how visual attention improves performance at different locations around the visual field. And I study this using a combination of behavioral psychophysics, which we'll talk a lot about, and looking at oculomotor behavior or eye movements, right? So these are things that we're going to discuss a lot in depth in both of these courses, but I'm really, really excited to get to know all of you and get to meet all of you. And I'm excited to have a great semester with you all.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, because this is one of the rare opportunities when someone has to listen to me talking about myself without me having to pay for it. Second of all, because naturally I will talk about my experiences as examples of things we will talk about, so I would like to give you some context. My family is originally from Europe, mainly Germany, Austria, and other stuff. And then there was the Holocaust and there was a mess. My parents, as children, somehow arrived to Brazil. My mother grew up in a kindergarten, in an orphanage. And my parents met there. I was born in Brazil, that's why my name. And when I was 17, I left Brazil alone. My parents still live in Brazil. I was in Boston for a while, and then I moved to Israel. I was born with Israeli citizenship. right after I arrived, I was drafted to the army. Now, I want to say something that is delicate, and I know it's uncomfortable for you to hear, but I must say, because otherwise, from experience, students always find out and they talk and they reach the wrong conclusions. So I must say, I was in the Israeli army for many years. I was in a combat unit. I was 3 years in a row, and then I continued for 7 additional years as a active reserve, which was intensive. Every year, 1 month, 1.5 months in serious active duty. I was supposed to continue until the age of 42, but after 7 years I refused to continue because I am strongly opposed to the policies of the governments of Israel regarding the Palestinians. In the beginning I was a unthinking young 18 years old boy, not that every 18 years old young man doesn't think, but I didn't. And then when I started to understand, in the beginning I thought that better me doing the right thing from within than refusing, until it became unbearable. Now, let me stress that I'm not against Israel, I'm not against Israelis, I am one, and half of the Israelis think like me. But and different people reach different conclusions, different people have different experiences and see different pictures. This is my personal conclusion from my personal experiences. This is the only picture I have. I accept people that think the opposite from what I think. But I think what I think based on what I saw and did. I'm not trying to defend myself, I'm just describing what was. That's it. After the army, I joined Tel Aviv University in 1997, and I stayed there until 2015. That's 18 years. In the middle, I did have, for 5 years, I worked as a film producer. I had a small production company with 2 partners. And after 5 years, I went back to the university. So all in all, in those days, Tel Aviv University was the tuition was symbolic almost. I don't know if it's still like that. And also I had an army scholarship. So the tuition was not an issue. So I allowed myself to go through everything I wanted. All in all, between BAs, MAs, and PhD, I went through 12 different departments. The most meaningful ones were psychology, neuroscience, history, philosophy, and cinema. Cinema, I finished a master's in film direction. That's why I worked as a film producer. In 2015, I arrived to New York, and I'm here. I've been working other stuff that I did. I'm a little bit into machine learning and artificial intelligence. I worked a little bit in high tech. I also, I am a carpenter. It was in the first years that after I left the army, in my first years in the university, I had 2 jobs. One was woodworking, I'm a furniture maker. I still am. I have a small shop here in Brooklyn. I still do furniture. Maybe one day I'll show you my little shop. And the other job I had was, for years, I was nightclub bouncer in Tel Aviv. Yes, I was beaten many times. I had my ribs broken. I had my nose broken. Maybe you can see. My nose was broken, I think, twice. And, well, I also broke some noses. But I was beaten many times, yes. The last thing I want to say about me or to warn you about me is like this. I have a big, impulsive, unhinged mouth. I say things. I don't think, and after I said, I hear what I said together with you. And sometimes I am horrified just like you. Now, I am improving, but sometimes I say things. First of all, because I come from a culture, in Israel, how can I say, tactfulness is not a thing. And on top of that, I also have this dry sarcasm, and sometimes I say a joke and I forget to give any hint that I am trying to be funny. Not a smile, not. So people that don't know me sometimes don't understand that I'm being sarcastic. And so I want you to know that whenever you hear me saying something absolutely strange or inappropriate or out of context, so I was trying to be funny, that's all. And lastly, please, if I say something that offends you, or that it's uncomfortable for you to hear, please let me know. You can let me know anonymously or directly. You can give me a call. You can a voice message to my cellular. Please tell me. First of all, so I can apologize. And second, so I can not do it again. I'm serious. Please let me know if I cross any line. That's it. All right, so we are done for today. In my next few lectures, we'll talk about a lot of hopefully interesting stuff. We'll talk about the meaning of life. We'll talk about evolution. We'll talk about the Bible. We'll talk about philosophers. The good news is that there will be nothing for you to memorize. You won't be tested on that. It's just for you to have the big picture, the big context of how we humans arrived to the scientific literature that we'll cover during the rest of the semester. So relax and flow with me. And next week we'll start with the recitations. See you soon.